winning the Olympia is hard. No question about it. If you're good enough to win it multiple times, it's not about if you can beat the bodybuilders on that stage. It's about managing expectations of others and managing life. That's the hardest part. Managing relationships, whether it be spouses, family, friends, business, expectations from a promoter that may feel some type of way because you charged them a certain amount and they were friends with you when you were nothing and now they feel some type of way. All this stuff. People it's just human nature, and you have to do your best to just always be there for fans. And I always made sure. I was always there at the meet and greets. I never skipped one. I always gave them my time. But I didn't overexpose myself either, and I just focused on the craft. I was thinking to myself like the late Kobe Bryant, like, would Kobe be on social media? Like, no, man, let's just do the work. Right. I don't have to talk about it, just be about that shit. Watch your back. Watch your narrative. But be great. Be so good that even if they want you to lose, you're just so good that you're undeniable. And that's what we did. We had to go to a place, and that was a scary one. That was the place where, Tim Grover talks about the relentless mentality of being a cleaner and being that killer. You gotta be a fucking killer. You run a company, you run a real company with Evogen. I've been your friend forever. It's not nice to have to sit here as Hany Rambod and be in control of an entire business that employs people who have families and have to deal with manufacturers and have to deal with ingredient people, different distributors that want to steal your product and sell it under MAP pricing and all this other stuff and ruin the name for their own personal benefit. It's gonna drive you fucking insane. And it can bring you to tears at night. It can make you like, why am I doing this? I could just be an employee going to somebody else, you know what I'm saying? And no, you chose to be who you are and accept the unknown. So I got to see that even with you running your businesses and being married and having a child and doing all this, you sacrifice a lot. And then I realized you can't do that, Phil. You have a bigger calling. You're supposed to be this way, like the ambassador, this and that. And I was like, but Muhammad Ali talked mad shit to people. Conor McGregor talked mad shit. Floyd Mayweather talked mad shit. Usain Bolt talked mad shit. Do your shit and make them beat you. And it never happened. I just lost, and that's okay. And I felt like what was really cool is that looking back, Hany, is we had these moments where even, I think it was like going for number 6, where the fans became a judge.
That I learned was right in the midst of your run was that it was never going to always be just you versus everybody else. It's always going to be you versus you. and they're always going to pull up photos of how you looked at your best.
Yep.
And how does he look now versus 11? How does he look now versus 13? How does he look now versus... It was always not just who you stood next to. And then I think also with your personality, obviously you and I have similarities, but we have some differences. Well, what do you think about Phil Heath when Generation Iron came out and he ended up becoming a little bit almost toxic because of his anger and his frustration? And I said, well, it just depends on who you're talking to. I feel like you went from Spider-Man to Venom because you embraced the anger and you fueled it, and it became just like a mutated version of where you were. But that's what drove you to 7.
Because everybody loves a fucking champion. Everybody wants to know that look, we live in a really crazy, scary time right now. And you and I just went shooting today. Mm-hmm. And why do we go shooting? To sharpen our skills. In the event something really went down. Like I said, every man has it in them. It's those who are prepared to fight that win.
A lot of the negativity comes from the ones that try to do what I do. They probably have tested every boundary possible with high limits possible and can't achieve the things that I've achieved. With the way I am, as competitive as I am, it's just going to be more competitive now.
You really have to dig deep into yourself. You gotta pull out the monster.
We wake up, I'm fasted, I probably have like, 2 to 3 cups of water. Head to the gym, do my cardio, either 30 minutes or 60 minutes, and then we pose. So, and we're still fasted. So it's like I was thinking though, like when you look at the physique fasted, I feel like it's the best way to look at it.
Come on, big shark, elbows in all the fucking way. And you think you're at the top, you got another 2 inches. 2 inches, yes. Right here, come on. All the way to the top.
Because like if you can look a certain way fasted and you're doing that the same every time, I can, you can only imagine with the carbs and filled out and dried out what you're looking at. So I like to do it like that, and I feel like my stomach's the flattest too when I pose at that moment.
Pull right up to here. Come on. Come on, dude. Come on. All the way up. All the way up. Pull yourself down. Come on. More. Come on. Come on.
If you're conditioned for one round, second round you're going to be beaten up big time, right? So you have to be conditioned to last 15 minutes. Regan has this most aesthetic physique, right? I mean, you have aesthetics. Everything is art. Front relax is art. Moving is, everything is artful, right? So, and you want to present it to people. Look at me. Look at the masterpiece. I was telling him, look at the Jay Cutler. We're watching Olympia, you know, whatever. On the stage, you see that he shines. He wants to be there, and he wants attention. Look at me. Not arrogantly, but confidently. So he has to have eyes of the judges constantly in him. So there's no interruptions. There's nothing less than perfect. If you pose 4 times a day, 3, 4, 5 rotations every time, right? So imagine doing it 20 times a day. In 1 month, that's 600 times. Anything you do 600 times in a month, you're going to be flawless. Your brain, it doesn't even have to work. Your body goes.
You can't expect everybody to care about your success as more than you. When I walk out, I'm like, you guys have not gone through this. I know your life, right? Because on social media, we all kind of share a lot, and some people overshare. So now I really know what's going on with you. I'm like, oh, you haven't gone through this, therefore you didn't have to do some self-work. You have some of these guys had a perfect life, right? I'm like, man, you didn't have these struggles and shit, and you can't even diet? You can't even train? You have a whole entourage picking up your weights and stuff. I train by myself 99% of the time. Oh, I know who I am. Like how Dorian Yates would say, they could never out-train me, they could never that's why they couldn't beat me. I felt the same way. I out-prepared them. I out-motivated myself. When I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I'm like, yeah, you're here. You're here to work. And you're gonna get this job done. And I call myself MFer a million, probably a zillion times. Because I also knew what legacy really means. What legacy really means is when you're in the dirt or in some mausoleum or whatever, people have some incredible things to say about you because of what you not just won, but what you provided them. And they knew that even the biggest hater is actually one of your greatest soundboards when you're done.
I'm kind of like a maniac. I always try to figure out what's the hardest thing to make.